the different areas that are covered by the MiFID, either through level 1 or through level 2, are sufficient and they are not open to, or too open to interpretations. I mean, I think that there are no such areas where you can say, well, okay, this is left to national discretion, or this is something that is open. I mean, at least that's my understanding. Of course, some of the areas, both at level 1 or at level 2, are legislated in terms of principles. So, I mean, and there, how you apply them is a question that there might be divergences between one member state and another, and that will be for the regulators to have a common approach. Because, I mean, that's always the case when you deal with legal concepts. We were talking, for example, about systematic internalizer. We have a definition of systematic internalizer at level 1 and then another one at level 2, but both of them rely on qualitative elements. How would you apply that to the specific case? I mean, that will also depend on the regulator. What we have tried is that there is not too much openness on that, so that there will be a general common approach in all the different member states and within all regulators. So, I mean,
so how's the UK? I mean, you've been handed the opportunity from the European Commission. Do you want to respond in terms of the UK perspective?
Well, I think in terms of what will happen once the level 2 measures are finished, I think it is clear that it's going to be in terms of the organisation of firms and the conduct of business, where there is the least clarity in the directive, and that's in a sense intentional, because what's in the directive and its implementing measures is pitched as a level of principle. It is also that those elements of the directive cover a wide range of firms doing a very diverse set of businesses, and so regulators at the national level, although talking to each other through CSER, will need to provide guidance on how those particular bits of the directive apply in particular sets of broad sets of circumstances. In terms of, are there in a sense big open issues at level 2 where in a sense the texts are going to change? I mean, I think most of the issues have already been, certainly at the member state level, that is around for 9 months, and whilst there may be changes to the detail of the level 2 measures, I would not expect huge changes in terms of new obligations on firms arising out of the process over the next 3 months. I think that the official drafts that you have at the moment provide a reasonable degree of certainty about where we are going to end up before the summer.
If I just want to add something else, Stevens was talking about the CSER level 3 work, but one area where CSER has already started thinking about MiFID implementation relates to consolidation of trade information, and it is CSER intention to, CSER held a meeting with a small group of private sector representatives in December to discuss whether there were obstacles in the current framework to consolidation, and what were the private sector initiatives, and what more could the private sector do, and whether there was a role for CSER or not. And so that was a first meeting with a small group, but there will be a call for evidence, which you might be interested in keeping an eye on, and potentially an open hearing in Paris a little bit later. So that would be on the CSER website.
Tom?
Sorry, Tom Side, Tolly. We are beginning to see quite a bit of focus and noises on MiFID in the industry and the regulations. However, within the next 3 years, we're going to have a whole bunch of other regulations coming down the line, Basel, transparency, etc., that can overlap a potential conflict with MiFID. Do you see any work being done by the regulators to address those broader issues?
I'm not sure if you're talking about regulatory forbearance or something along those lines at this stage, but that's not quite what we. I think we'll have to see. Like, we don't have that once we recognize this is a huge challenge, I don't think we're in a situation where we have come to the view that it's not doable. It's a big challenge for the FSA. We also acknowledge readily that it's a big challenge as well for the private sector. But I think we'll have to be in close contact over the next few months to see whether, what can be done to meet this challenge.
I'm looking at the potential possibility as well as the
Well, I think the FSA is trying to draw dots between the various regulatory initiatives. For instance, the fact that they're publishing a systems on controls consultation paper that is in a sense dealing both with MiFID and with the CRD. They're also launching, was it yesterday? There's a consultation paper on the Capital Requirements Directive, which has in it a lot of information about interpreting the boundaries of MiFID. So, as I say, they are in their consultation process trying to draw the links to help firms deal with the fact that there are lots of regulatory initiatives out there.
Rich Young from Swift. Thinking about the consolidation required for the trade reporting and also the transaction reporting regime as well under MiFID, are we to expect on the level 3 process more detail and maybe restriction in terms of data standards that could be used across the EU to facilitate that consolidation and uniform transaction reporting? I know the data elements have been sort of highly specified in the level 2 documents, but there's very little on also uniformity of data standards in there, and I was wondering if there's an expectation that with level 3 we'll get more detail there.
The level 3 is definitely not the route to set standards, and whilst the FSA is a member of CSER, I cannot really speak on behalf of CSER, but I can say that it's definitely not envisaged that there would be additional rules. The level 3 work generally could result in guidance in member states agreeing that a particular way to implement the level 1 and the level 2 text would basically make it easier from an operational standpoint. There can be some recommendations that can be encouragement to adopt certain best practice, but the CSER level 3 is not a standard setting vehicle, basically.
Okay, anybody else with a burning question?